It's my privilege to bring up our last speaker. And Mr. Stan Rodriguez is a tribal council member of the Ipai Nation of Santa Ysabel. He holds a doctorate of education from UC San Diego. His work examines the Kumeyaay heritage language, learning. Dr. Rodriguez is executive director of the Kumeyaay Community College and teaches Kumeyaay language, culture, ethnobotany, and history. He is a traditional Kumeyaay singer. Also, we give you Dr. Stan Rodriguez to close us out.
Okay, Penyama, Tipe Cham, Stamwina Chuhina, Makopai Wuskwanan. Bele Hilikui, Awu, Yashkal, Kuslawat Pi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stan Rodriguez. I'm an Ipai Kumeyaay from the San Ysabel Reservation. And first of all, Assemblyman Ramos, it's good to see you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your song. And when you were talking about the mountain sheep, with our people, we say that the mountain sheep is an animal that teaches us, because the mountain sheep lives in a place that there's very little food, very little water, and it teaches us how to overcome adversity, how to be strong. So Khan, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for sharing that part. For the rest of the speakers here, I just want to say it's been an honor to listen to all of you, and many of you, I've known you for many years, some of you since I was in my early 20s. And I'm not going to say how old I am, but it's been a while. So thank you all for sharing. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about Father Sarah and the missions and what the statue means. And if you look behind me, you see a engraving of when my people, the Kumeyaay people, attacked the mission in San Diego and killed Father Jaime and 2 other people. And there were reasons for that. So to talk a little bit about that is to talk about, what happened here in the Californias. So the version or memory of Father Sarah has been this romanticized fallacy of him bringing God to the people. And just those words in itself denote so much. I mean, it's such a negativity for our Native people. They're saying that we're not even human beings, that we had nothing before they came. And that is a total lie. But let's examine what actually took place. So when Father Sarah came, he wasn't the bringer of all this. And when we talk about the missions, as Kutcha was talking about, it goes back over 200 years before he even came to the Californias. And it started off with what was happening in Mexico. Well, what was happening in the Americas? There was an invasion by Spaniards. And I think it's important to note this. The Spaniards did not defeat the Native people. It was Native people fighting other Native people. They were the ones, they were playing one side against the other. So they toppled the Aztec, the Inca empires. And what they did was they saved the nobles. They saved some of the nobles. And what they did was they gave orders to the nobles, and the people who were under them, they were used to carrying out the orders of the nobles, but instead of the resources going to them and back to the communities, it went to the Spaniards and then to Spain. So this kept going on and on until uprisings took place. And the first one was a Mixta uprising in Mexico, and this was from 1540 to 1542. And this pitted the Kashkan people against the Tlaxcalan and Aztec people that were now fighting with the Spaniards. So that lasted for a couple of years, but then another uprising took place. It was a war. And this war lasted for 50 years. And this was the Chichimeca War up in the northern provinces of Mexico. And what happened was the Spaniards almost lost the war. It got that bad. But in 1584, the bishop of of the bishop of Guadalajara, he came up with the idea. He called for a Christian remedy, and this started what was to be known as a weaponizing of Christianity. So what they were going to do was they were going to come, and they had 200 years to perfect this before Father Serra came into the picture, of they would go into indigenous communities. And one of the reasons why that the Chichimeca War, the Spaniards almost lost, was because of what they had was, it was decentralized governments. So, and the people were very mobile, moving from place to place, just like our peoples here in California. So they had a difficult time with them. They couldn't just take over a city and take over the people. So this is how they were going to do it with the missions. They were going to pull the people in, subjugate the people, teach them rudimentary skills, teach them the Catholic faith, and they were going to, like I said, teach them rudimentary skills in anticipation of Spanish colonists arriving. So when Father Serra came into California in 1769, one of the things that the Spaniards were concerned about was incursion by both Russia and England. There was a lot of trapping that was done by Tlingits from the north that were coming down for otters. So the Spaniards were concerned, and they wanted to build up their outposts. They initially wanted to put a mission up in Monterey. They wanted to skip San Diego, but they decided that was too far of a jump from Laredo. So they went to San Diego instead. That first mission in 1769 was put right next to a very large Kumeyaay village called Kosay. Some people call it Kosoy. It means the dried place. So what happened was the soldiers, from the beginning, were molesting women, children, and the way that they did this, the way that they did these things was, hey, the way that they did this was they would take the children. When they take the children, the women would follow. And when the women would follow, the men would follow. So they would put the women and the children, they would separate everybody. It was much easier to control the people. Like I said, they've had over 200 years to perfect this model. So when this happened, they killed the chief who was protesting what Spanish soldiers were attempting to do to his wife. So then they moved the community, well, they moved the mission a couple miles up the river. So what happened was, what they would do is they would forcibly hold people there. They would, just like what was said before, they would whip the people, they would use the women and children for sex, and they didn't care about life. They would just get more people. So 2 people escaped, and when they came back with hundreds of Kumeyaay warriors. So on the night of November 5th, 1775, hundreds of Kumeyaay warriors descended, half surrounded the Presidio and half around the mission. They attacked the mission, burned it to the ground, dragged Father Jaime out, and the last words that were recorded him saying was, "Mi hijos," or my children. He was found guilty of crimes against Kumeyaay humanity and executed, along with 2 other people. This started off a wave of reprisals, but the Kumeyaay held their ground. If any of you ever been to San Diego, anything east of El Cajon was considered enemy territory. So our people held most of our traditional territory. And the Kumeyaay people, we are on both sides of the border. We're not only in San Diego and the Imperial counties, but we're also in Baja California, Mexico. There's 6 Kumeyaay reservations in Baja, another 12 in San Diego County. So as these things started going on, the Quetzal and Desert Kumeyaay attacked the missions that were on the Colorado River, destroyed those. The mission in Santa Catarina in Baja was destroyed. The mission in La Misión, in between Tijuana and Ensenada, was attacked, destroyed. These things were happening, going on and on. Our people resisted. Our people resisted encroachment by them. They wanted to use us for slaves, and we fought against it. We continued to fight. So when we talk about Father Serra and his contributions to that, he was an architect. Well, no, he was just a tool. He was just a tool of this. And for him to be cantonized. I was there up north in the Bay Area when many of us natives were there at that meeting, and we were against that. We were against that. There were a few that were for it, but they did it anyway. And the thing is, if Father Cerro was so pure, so holy, why did he come with soldiers? Why did he come with soldiers? That is the thing that a lot of people don't don't really understand, and people get mad about, hey, these statues are getting toppled. It's what it represents. It's what it represents I mean, the truth. We're talking about the truth and being able to say the truth and what has really happened. When we take a look at the missions, we take a look at a romanticized version of, Spanish colonialism and how it was all peaceful out here and what has taken place. But the reality was this was a time of pain, of sorrow, of resistance for the people. And 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 it's not in our history books. When Dr. Rislin was talking about, Dr. Baldly Rislin was talking about her her fourth grader, and doing the mission project. I have a son who turned 10. He was in the fourth grade, and we're looking forward to doing the actual, replica of the San Diego mission with the burning and all that. But with COVID-19, they closed down schools before we could do it, and they got away. So, but the truth is so important. And when some people talk about, well, that's just the historic, that's just history. That's not, it's not what's done today. Let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you all something about this. When I heard people talking about the mission bells. One time, my family, we went to Sonora, to the land of the Kumkak. People know them as the Seris. They're very proud people. Their language is, almost everybody speaks the language. They still practice fishing. They live in isolated areas. They're they're just an incredible group of people. But one of the things that we noticed in the daytime, we heard bells ringing. Well, there's Christian missionaries, evangelists that have put up a church out there, and they ring the bell 5 times a day, and each time the people go to the mission and they attend service. What is going on? What is going on with the people? Again, indoctrination. Indoctrination is taking place. What? So indoctrination is taking place. Another thing that is happening is, when we talk about, the apology that has been given, that, you hear happening, with the Catholic Church, apologizing for that. I gotta say, apology means nothing. How about the actions? When we talk about, the devastating impact that the missions have on people, if you notice, almost all the groups who had who had encountered the missions or who were part of the missions are not federally recognized. If the Catholic Church really believed in, we need to do the right thing, they would give that land back to those people and help to secure land so that they could have reservations and help them for federal recognition. This is the truth. And, in San Diego, there are 2 groups that were not federally recognized. One was, again, the Luceños up in San Luis Rey, and the others were Kumeyays from the San Diego mission. Through diaspora, they just, they just went into the population. Because without a land base, you are like a tree without roots. So the last thing I wanted to say is that education is important. We need to be able to teach our people. We need to be able to teach them the truth. People should not be afraid of the truth. People should honor the truth. People should honor knowledge. And that's one of the reasons why we started Kumeyaay Community College, the 12 Kumeyaay bands in San Diego, working with the 6 bands in Baja, so that we can teach our story, so that we can, protect our language, our songs, our culture, our history. This is something that is so important for our people. The, you know, one of the things that I'll always remember about the Catholic Church is one time I was in a Kumeyaay reservation in Baja, and one of the ladies, she passed away, she died, one of my in-laws, and she was a Catholic. So she wanted a Catholic priest to say something at her funeral. So we drove down to the nearby town and went to the Catholic church. And we asked the priest, could you come up here and say some words for her? And the Catholic priest looked at all of us with disdain and said in Spanish that he was going to be officiating at a wedding and he didn't have time because it would dirty his robes. So then one of the elders asked, could we at least have some holy water so we can put that on? And he looked so taken back by it. Oh gosh, really? You want me? So he got some water, said a quick prayer, and we left. So when we talk about things that happen, those things are still happening today. And until we realize that, until we say, we let people know what the truth is, and until we start teaching our people, the people are going to be blinded, they're going to be lost. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you very much.